watching Seriously Sport, and I'm talking to our Group CEO, or Econet Media Group CEO, Joe Hundah, who's in studio with us. And we're talking about Kwese TV. What is Kwese TV, and where exactly do we plan to go? Part of that as well is about creating our own content as an African broadcaster. Now, Joe, you know, from a sporting perspective, as Kwese Sports, we've got, Namibia Sevens, Kosafa Under 20 Zim Sevens, and some boxing as well, Kwese Friday Boxing, that's coming up. These are our own properties that we've created. How important is it to have our own African content?
You know, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have content, not just in sport, but even in general entertainment.
Yes.
But since we're talking about sport, let's focus on that. I think, you know, for a very long time, the African consumer has been bombarded by the large amount of content coming through from Europe. Yeah. And as a result, to be honest with you, we pay a lot of money for all these rights. Yeah. And we've made a conscious decision that we need to invest in our own sports across the continent. So what you will see as we move forward as a business, more and more of our content will be local. Yeah. Because we really believe that the more African sports people or sportsmen and women are exposed, and the more and the higher the bar of quality of sport is in terms of viewing it on TV, stadiums, quality of play, etc. The more we can export our talent across the world, and the more the international talent can come to us. If we're hosting good tournaments and we're doing good things with content, we really feel that this is an important area for us to focus on. Yeah. So as you've seen, we're almost like 2 months old, but we've done so much already in terms of local sport. Yeah. And we want to do more and more and more. But it's also very important for the federations, the African federations, to understand how important television is. I've sat in circumstances where we've tried to buy rights for local sport, and it's been too expensive, too prohibitive. Yeah. Because not only do we have to buy the sport, but we also have to produce it. So we've got to send our own camera people, etc., which we don't mind doing. But if you've paid a significant amount of money for sports rights, you're reducing the amount of money you can put into production. Whereas the international sport come already packaged. Yeah. So all you're doing is you're just paying sports rights. So so every time I meet sports federation presidents and CEOs, I always emphasize this and how important it is for their sport to be on television. Yeah,
because you're bringing sponsorship for themselves, for their players and so forth.
Exposure,
Are we struggling a bit with the professional era of sport, do you think, on the continent?
I think we are, because there are a lot of sports, you'd be surprised. I'm a former basketball player myself, and I played basketball in Zimbabwe, not professionally, because I was working. Yeah. So it's completely amateur. Competing for the love of the game. Yeah. Right?
Now, but remember, you weren't quite bad at it.
I wasn't bad. No, I wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, it was all right.
But at the end of the day, the sport was never on television. And it would be nice to have volleyball, local tennis, local golf, sport that we think are mundane sports as far as television is concerned, but they're only mundane because they're not on television. And it's up to the federations to make those sports available for us to be able to screen. Because it'll be nice for Africans to be able to see themselves and be able to relate and see Uncle so-and-so on TV because he's a good golfer and he's playing on a tournament. That's really nice. We can't always be fed with foreign content only.
The other thing I'm assuming we are taking cognizance of is a little thing that I have a bugbear with when we talk about other broadcasters throughout the continent who have taken that local content, whether it be golf or whatever it is, but there sometimes tends to be, or how can I put it, a little disrespect in comes to the production of that content.
Absolutely.
We almost disrespect ourselves. Obviously, we are not going to do that. We're going to respect whatever we get and give the best in terms of production, produce it, whether it's a small little tournament in Kenya, be it in Rwanda. We won't be like that.
Exactly. And I think that's an important point because, it is how the sport is perceived and how it is seen by the viewer that gives the impression of the sport. So, if you have a single camera at a game, for example, it's a different viewing experience from having 10 cameras.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
With different angles, the slow-mo, and all those kinds of things. But those things cost money, right? So, so quite often what federations don't understand is if you're making me pay so much for rights, I have to now cut back on production, and I don't like to do that. So what will I do? I'd rather walk away from it completely. Yeah. Because of exactly your point. I don't want to disrespect the sport. So if I can't do it properly, I'd rather not do it at all. Yeah. So I think I would encourage a lot of sports federation presidents and CEOs and marketing people to just give the sport a chance to be on TV. Yeah. And let us showcase it in the manner in which it should be showcased, and really show off the quality and level of the game in any country that we decide to cover.
Are we ready for HD on the continent? Because everyone's talking about HD when it comes to broadcasting, as well as the DTT, if you can take us through that as well.
Look, DTT, I'll start with the first, because that's the most difficult subject. I actually wrote a paper about it once. DTT is such an important development from a content perspective for Africa, but it's fraught with so many problems. I think one, governments have issued too many DTT licenses, so it makes TV uncompetitive because you've got too many players, and the market can only be so big. That's one. Two, a lot of governments were not prepared for DTT, so they've had to find funding to help them to put up the infrastructure. Because it's a very expensive exercise to put up towers. But what you need for DTT is to put up towers just like cell phone towers, but maybe slightly different, obviously, different configurations. But, and governments didn't have that. They've got other problems to worry about, housing, water, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, entertainment and TV took a backseat. So the deadline for migration, I think, was 2015, June. And a lot of countries have not even migrated yet. And what happens is that the reason why people were migrating to DTT was because analog equipment is not being made anymore. So there might come a time, if people don't migrate, where they're stuck without equipment that they cannot replace, and parts they cannot replace. And once that happens, it means TV is gone. But one thing I have seen in the last 2 years, though, is a definitive ambition by governments to actually implement DTT. So they're actually taking it seriously now and going ahead and doing it. So that's one. So DTT, I think we're ready for it. It will change the landscape of television completely, right? What is the other question again? HD is important, but you know the problem with HD is that it takes up so much bandwidth. You know, it's almost like 4 times the same bandwidth, 4 times the bandwidth of normal signal.
SD.
So that makes it very prohibitive. You know, if in an ideal world, if we have 50 channels today on Kwese TV, I would like to have all of them to be HD, and they are all available on HD. But that would mean that I'll probably need 4 times the number of transponders. And transponders that carry these signals are very, very expensive. You know, people don't understand how expensive they are. So, you know, so one has to do it a step-by-step approach. So we're starting with sport. So Kwese Sports 1 and Kwese Sports 2 are HD, and so is ESPN, HD channels. And as we go along, you know, we've also got 1 or 2 of our Kwese channels, Kwese Entertainment channels also in HD. And the idea is that eventually we should have as many HD channels as possible. But it requires a step-by-step approach to it, purely because of the expense.
I know we are still young. What are we doing on the CSI side? How are we embracing the communities where we're operating in?
Well, first of all, you know, merely by launching, we're already contributing to the economies of most of these territories. So, for example, we've launched our satellite services in Ghana, Zambia, and Rwanda. So you can imagine the employment levels that are created by starting businesses in those countries and adding to the economy. We're growing the broadcast sector as well by doing that, introducing new expertise, training up new people, et cetera, et cetera. So merely by starting a new business, you know, our chairman has always been very, very firm about that. If Africa is to take itself out of its problems, it needs to grow more and more entrepreneurs. You know, and so by starting new businesses, it's an entrepreneurial spirit that drives economies. But over and above that, we are actually developing a corporate social responsibility strategy around that. But what we want to do is we want to kind of launch in all the countries we want to roll out in first, and then begin to implement that. But then it means a lot more when it's implemented across the whole continent and not just in some parts.
Pockets. Okay, we're not going to do a couple of footballers on a field passing a ball.
No.
A little more than that.
No, we'll do slightly more.
All right, let's talk about the future. Just before we close the show, you mentioned, look, it's a 4-pronged business at the present moment. Where's the focus, actually? Where do we really want to end up in the next 10 years?
Well, you know, the way I see it, it's just pure strategy. I think the business right now is probably in free-to-air and in satellite. It's obvious, right? The future is in mobile and broadband. And so, but we're not giving any less attention. So so all our channels, for example, are available on satellite, but they're also available on our app, right? But we might do more things on the app. So for example, you know, you might not know, but Econet Media has done a deal with Netflix, where we have the exclusive distribution platform for Netflix. So if anybody wants to get Netflix in the future, they'll have come through Econet Media, because we wanted to help them with billing, regulatory, cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, and Netflix is predominantly a broadband and mobile business, you know. But it took us almost 18 months to do that deal, you know. So some of these things, you know, we stayed at it for 18 months trying to get one property. That's how much focus we are putting on our mobile and broadband business. It's just as important. But we know that right now we need to get satellite right and free-to-air right, because that's where we expect the most traction. And as broadband costs come down, I foresee that in 5 years' time, the business could be completely more focused on mobile and broadband, because that's where the numbers will be. You know, so you can with 200 million smartphones in Africa, if you have 10% market share, you've got 20 million downloads.
That's
you know,
a lot.
Pay television penetration in Africa is not that great if you think about it. You know, if there are 50 million TV households, there are probably 15 million pay TV. So the penetration is much lower. So if you get the product right on mobile, you could really flip your business completely, and that's why it's not receiving any less attention, because it really is the future.
People have been complaining, just a quick one on this one, about that our competitors are a little bit too expensive. Are we cost effective?
I think we are. I like to believe that we offer premium content at an affordable price. That is our whole motto. And over and above that, more importantly, is that we've introduced something quite revolutionary, in that we are allowing consumers to pay for 3-day bundles. So our package is $25, right, for about 50 channels, and that's going to be probably go to about 75 channels within the next couple of months. And for that's $25, but we allow customers to buy 3-day packages for $4 and 7-day packages for $7.50. So, you know, and you know, in Africa, electricity is a big problem. And this is one way of helping customers and consumers get over this.
Okay, so it's going to be more choice, more convenience for the customer as well. Thank you so much, Joe, for coming to the studio.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
So many encouraging words coming through from our Group CEO of Econet Media. And for you, the viewer at home, thank you so much for watching us tonight. And of course, as always, we'll catch you next week on Tuesday at 7 on Kwese Sports. Enjoy the rest of your week. Cheers from us.
Holyfield is very unhappy. Look at this. Yes, it is here. He bit his ear, that's what. Well, he saw the speed and the acceleration of Lance Armstrong.
Is this the beginning of the end for Tom Brady?
Raises his arms in triumph. Julius Diego.
Hansi Cronje has been playing well.
Marion Jones, former sprint star.
The reason we did it was standing up against the tyranny in Zimbabwe.
Gareth Bale, it's a terrific run. Can he go all the way?